Hello, intrepid experimenters, and welcome to the new subscribers. Appreciate you guys so much. And so click like and leave comments, generate some interaction, and that'll help the channel out. So I'm only doing this because this the energy experimentation I do has moved me to. I'm not looking to, I'm not doing this for a living. I'm doing this because I'm living, if that makes any sense. But anything you can do to help out the channel and get it out there and help develop this into something useful for other people as well, I really appreciate that. So that would mean like, subscribe, all that is free. Share it if you find it interesting. Okay, so I have recently switched. I went through a series of reading every day through the week for a few weeks on each day to see how the energies worked for me personally, how the readings worked, whether I was energized, whether the readings were informative and had some truth in them or validity in them, that sort of thing. And what I discovered through that process was that I feel most in tune and in touch when I do it on Mondays, which is interesting to me because, of course, Monday is an intuition energy day under the 1111 teachings. And if you don't know what those are, there are some places down in the down below in the description where you can find out information about those teachings, which is something that I work with and use in my experimentation. So you'll hear me refer to it quite a lot. So here we are on a Monday, and hopefully I've learned to upload this a little better. My internet up here on the mountain's getting worse lately. I don't know if that's satellites. I don't know what's going on. But it slows my uploads down significantly. So, but I'll do what I can over here. Okay, so I am pulling in this series a card from Jamie Sam's illustrations by Linda Childers' Sacred Path cards, and for the week to see what the energies of the week are, what we as a collective that are interested in creating good energy to support the rest of the collective and our own beings, what we would need to know for the week. And then I'll follow that up to explore it with a reading from The Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reed, and those are illustrated by Jenna Della Grottaglia. Sorry that I butchered that. And then we'll clarify that with the Chakra deck by Tony Hartman, and that one is illustrated by Gretchen Rosh Baskin. Okay, all right, so I have shuffled these, but now I'm going to do one more shuffle, and then I will pull a card, and we'll see what the energy of the week, what do we need to know? What's the sacred energy for the week that we need to be aware of? What's the energy of the week that we need to be aware of? Energy of the week we need to be aware of. Okay, that wants that one. So that's the one we will take. Okay, this is fire medicine, passion, spirituality. Fire medicine. So in the medicine wheel teachings that I've learned on my path, the fire medicine is the north medicine. It also is represented by the color white. It's about inner passion, and in the tarot I use the Wands cards to represent the north and also that inner passion. So what is fire medicine? what is fire medicine for us for this week? What do we need to know? I would say intuitively, this is saying that you have to keep your home fires burning. Don't let the fire go out when the rains come. The rains are needed around the fire as well, but keep your fire going. So, but we'll pull a tarot reading on it and see what that has to say. So hold on a second and I'll bring you down. Sorry, real quick. So my eyes are not great. So the card is passion, spontaneity. So, and the fire. So that's talking about the spark that starts the fire, and being able to move in the moment and spark your fire. All right, now I'll bring you down. Hold tight. Okay, so I have shuffled these up a little bit. We'll do the final shuffle. And I'm thinking about what this fire medicine, passion and spontaneity means for this week for us. What, give us some information in the reading that will help us understand how this will help us to know this week. Tell us about this fire medicine for us for this week. Those to the top. That's how they came out. And the clarifiers. To clarify on this fire medicine. Fire medicine for us. The warrior is standing in the fire. He is the fire. The warrior is born of the fire. The fire can consume him like the phoenix. He can rise again. There's a lot in that image to consider. As clarifiers for teachings on the fire. Ooh, well, that one threw right out. I think we're on track to get a reading. Okay. So the first card is the signifier, and it's the 9 of air. You would think of this normally as the 9 of swords in the good tarot deck. She has taken flight. She is beset around her, though, with the doves of peace. All right, so in the normal tarot, the 9 of swords is a nightmare thing, and she is like in a dream state here, but it's not clear from this dream state that this is nightmarish at all. This is about, in this deck, this is about understanding dream time information, messages, but also being able to separate yourself from dreams and look at reality. You know, so this is a suspension. She is suspended in the mystical, in a sense. And this is clarified by, as we got before, renewal. So the signifier of this reading is like renewing ourselves through dream time, through the fantastical avenues that the mind can go down. But literally this says to me that for this week, this could be about bringing back dreams, dream scenarios. Let's leave it at that. What is the challenge? Oh, that's interesting. We are very much up in the air in the thinking. This is the east, in the east in the medicine wheel represents yellow and thought and the air. And as I do in my own deck, they also use feathers to represent swords. They are ephemeral. They move through the air, and that's much like thoughts are. So the 8 of air is in the normal deck, a woman who is bound by her thinking and decisions. But this woman is not bound. This woman is soaring above it, but she is viewing the consequences. She is looking down through the clouds upon where these thoughts, these feathers are flying to, where they're going to, where they're leading to. So I would take that there's a challenge here for us to understand how our thinking is creating the situations we're experiencing, as clarified by victim. That's very interesting. I think this is saying, we are in a time of a lot of philosophy and thinking and new kinds of thinking and off the scale, out of range, viewpoints, ways of doing things. There's like an attempt to renew ourselves through this expansion in our thinking, but we also have to be aware of who is getting victimized by the consequences of these things that we may do or say. Okay, let's have the base of the deck, what we have control over. Wow. 7 of air. 7 of swords is in the regular tarot is a card. Some people call it the Sneaky Pete, the Thief card. But in this, what we have is an angel. She's got different types of birds around her. The doves represent the higher self. She has this bird on her lap, which appears to be, I don't know, possibly has its wings up. It could be a pigeon, it could be a small hawk, maybe a chicken, and then she has geese and ducks below, the water birds below her. So I think what we have control over in this is sort of where we put our attention. Where are we focusing our attention? Is it on what's being requested, the one asking us? Is it on higher things, which in a sense are taking care of themselves? Is it on the lower things that are in their element and doing what they do? And she's looking sort of beyond all of it and contemplating. So I think this is, in this card, what we have control over is taking a longer view of the reality before we act. And that's clarified by vanity. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think we often color our assessment of the world based on how it makes us look. There are certain vanities. The vanity of human existence is in the individual acting as if The collective is there simply to make that individual look good. That's like a vanity to use that. In conjunction with this, she seems to be trying to figure out what to take, what's hers, which way to go. What should she work with? To the extent that we do it just for our own vanity to make ourselves look a certain way, that's in our control. In the past, the Magician. So like we have started on a new journey. There's been we already had the manipulation, right? We already had the manipulation in the past. I'm trying to think of how this is all referring to fire medicine, but it will come clear as we look into the future cards and okay, clarified by grief. I think this is saying that in the past there has been some large manipulations that have led to a lot of suffering. What we can't control, the Wheel of Fortune. There are people that luck favors no matter how poorly they seem to do for the collective. And there are people that luck never favors no matter how truly good their intentions for all seem to be. And that is not something we can control. There's an element of synergy in the reality and the energy of the collective that's beyond our control and can impact our fortune, as clarified by bittersweet. Yeah, so there is this element of chance that sometimes works to bring great fortune to the most deserving at the worst time, but for others never spins their way, no matter what good they produce. And this is bittersweet because there are people and beings who choose to have the good fortune go to others even though they need it themselves, because they're so committed to the collective. So there's a bittersweetness in that regard. And what this energy is creating, the Two of Fire. Here we go now. Now we're getting the fire. So fire medicine. This is about passions joining in the normal tarot deck. But in this deck, it looks much more like the Hermit, but it's a human joined with an animal who is carrying the light into the future. And the human is riding on the animal. And where is the fire and the energy? Some is behind the human and some is in front of the human. This is about balancing the lights, the fires, the fire medicine, to both show those behind us which way to go with the light, and also to lead ourselves forward. And that is clarified by instinct. Yeah, I think the representation of the animals in this is very much about we have to be in touch with nature and the instinctual elements of working life energy dynamics. I mean, what is instinct after all but something that we have pulled out of the collective energy as an understanding that doesn't seem to be tied to any teaching. It seems to be innate to us. And that is our connection to nature. And so what we are manifesting with this fire medicine is a reconnection on that level. How we see ourselves? The sun. This was the card I got for the card of the day today on Monday. 10-6, which is interesting because this is a card of great healing and joy and happiness and light. It is, of all the cards in the tarot, it is the one that most represents that loving joy of being in the universe that, you know, we experience on a beautiful sunny day where the weather is just fine and everything is illuminated with the colors are bright. You know, it's a healing energy. It's a light source energy. And that is as clarified by isolation. So how do we feel about, how do we see ourselves in relation to fire medicine? I think the sun itself, of course, is a fire medicine. In isolation, you know, I think this is, you know, people have to generate their self-passion. There's this need to be isolated, to not share it. There are certain passions that drive people that people don't want to share how they spark their spark, right? That's almost a sacred individual thing done in isolation. And we may feel like it isolates us if we work with these energies. The environment in which we sit is the 3 of water. This would be the 3 of cups. I find it interesting, this deck also uses shells. I did my deck before I ever got this one, which, so it's just funny to me that we ended up using the same symbology. So for me, water is about energy and shells and spirit, represented by the West, and water. So the 3 of waters is often thought of, or 3 of shells or cups is often thought of as a card of celebration. It's about the energies coming together. So we may work with the fire medicine in an isolation, but it brings the energies together around us, and that is clarified. Oh, how beautiful is that in perfection. So this is saying that we have to work with our internal fire medicine ourselves, but it creates an energy of alignment around us. Hopes and fears, 8 of water. This is the 8 of cups. A lot of times the tarot will show this as a walking away. He's in this one. This person has its back to us, is watching a ship, and looks like this person has been left behind with a casket full of not gold and coins. Those are bubbles and water. There's water dripping down from it, and it's coming out of the water. But the ship is sailed, and this person is left almost ghost-like, standing, looking. So, you know, I think the hopes and fears in this, working with this fire energy, is we could end up being left behind, and that we might have a box of treasure. It's a treasure anyone could have anywhere, and is it really worth the separation? I think that is the hope and the fear, and that is clarified by despondence. I think when you're working with fire medicine and the spontaneity of it means it can spark off and like instantly. It's got an instant spontaneity about it. Somebody gets fired up and they lose it. as people like to say. You know, that's just about the spontaneity of passions taking over. And I think that there is a hope and a fear in that moment, in that energy. You might think you can get the casket of gold, but you could also destroy things and end up despondent. So that also relates to maybe what we see in the week. We may feel that sense of despondency, and the fire medicine can help us with that. The outcome for the week: strength. There are a lot of higher arcana in this reading, so it's a good, powerful reading. And to end on strength and good fortune here, very powerful. If we can protect our internal passion, assess it for whether it is a good thing for the collective, it can create an energy flow that strengthens, that leads to a strengthening of our own being, the collective, for all. And is clarified by prayer. So I think that fire medicine, for me, prayer is intention. If we think that prayer is a desire of humans that is put out into the collective in order to receive a response as a request, that is really just what human intention is. Whatever we are intending is coloring our energy all the time and is emitting that energy, putting that energy out as a request to the universe. So if we take the fire medicine and tend our inner fire and understand what our passions are driving that intention and are selective in them, it strengthens our prayer and the result, and it gives us a better connection. That's my read on it. Bottom of the deck is the Queen of Water. This is that Queen of Cups who has the secret in her cup, the internal directing of energy. This is about directing the energy within, as clarified by creation. And that is how creation happens with that fire medicine. I think that's a really lovely read. All right, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'll bring it up here and wrap it up. Well, energy for the week. Fire medicine. Stand in your fire. It'll strengthen you. It's the key to creative energy within. So when times are tough, and when times are good as well. But this week in particular, don't be afraid to stand in your fire. You know, but consider carefully what any actions you might be thinking about, what the repercussions are. Be sure you're willing to do that to the collective, because you can harm it as well as help it, depending on how you deploy your passions. That's your choice. You came here on this planet to live, to experience reality, and to function in a way that interacts with it creatively. So find a creative, joyful release for your passion, and consider carefully how that affects the rest of the collective, because that collective is your own sandbox, you know. So if you fill the sandbox up with toxic stuff and then you try to live in it, it's not going to feel good. So fill your little sandbox with beautiful things and living energy. And consider how powerful you are as a human, that you have the creative energy. You have the ability to be the spark, the fire for the collective. It's yours. That's huge power. No one can take that from you. So enjoy this week. Take your fire medicine wisely and gently, and let me know what you think, and I'll see you next week. I'll try to upload some shorts this week as well. All right, love you guys. See ya.